My first video. I am broadcasting live to you from Norfolk right here at Electric Lighthouse. And the goal of today's video is to just provide a short bit of useful information on some of the things that I do to help set my studio up so that it flows more efficiently. Flow in a studio basically is referring to workflow. Okay, so the first thing that you will obviously notice is this big display right here. This is called a Smith & Martin, and it is a very touchable display. It costs quite a bit of money, but it is definitely worth it to have a touchscreen display in your studio, and there are several other monitors like it that you can get with touchscreen. Always run a twin monitor configuration. It allows you to do two things. One, it allows someone, when you're in a break on a studio, to be like, okay, well, live is still here, let's play Spotify. Okay, well, you can go play Spotify over here. You don't want to focus on that? Okay, turn your monitor off. Now you're focused on Ableton. You know what I'm saying? It allows you to focus easier. Plus, when you are looking at an application which features two windows, it also allows you to split the application. Now you have session and arrangement view. Many of you know to use twin monitors. Okay, that's great. Here's something you might not have thought of. Ableton is easier to play standing up because when you're looking down at it, everything is evenly divided. If you try and look at your sequencer, hang on. If you try and look at your sequencer this way, you will get very confused because it's difficult to look at a sequencer this way and look at it symmetrically. You want to play it from the top down because it allows you to see exactly where your fingers are going on your pads. Next thing, I know this sounds dumb, and it really is as dumb as it sounds, but we have a keyboard and mouse over here. That's where the artist is going to sit. If you're an engineer, you need to be able to control what the artist is doing. So, which is why I recommend that you always have an extra keyboard and mouse, preferably wireless. You will never go wrong having an extra keyboard and mouse. If you spill your beer because you are a drunk and you work in a studio, I know you, don't try and lie to me, on your keyboard, you will not be screwed. That brings me to my next point. Let's say you are running Ableton. You have an excellent session, but your computer crashes because you updated a Yosemite, which you should not do because it will ruin everything. Have an 8-track. Run everything in and back out of your 8-track. Make sure that it sounds good, but run everything that comes out of your monitors back to the 8-track. That way you can't lose it. Even if you didn't like it very much, at least you'll have a starting point to recreate it from. The tip that I'm going to give you. Hey man, do you have an aux cord? I can play this on my phone. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. And it pays to be able to say yes. Some artists hate corded. Some artists hate cords. Okay, fine. If they don't want a cord, you know what they can use? These wireless Bluetooth headset. Okay, I got about 10 of them. They're Shure and they work great. Have a few beater pairs around that still sound good. Don't use iPhone headphones. Have 10, 12 pairs of skull candies just sitting in the box ready to go. Artists love those things. Plus they take a freebie with them when they leave the studio. Next thing you might not have thought of. Have a million of these. You can chain hundreds of non-powered USB devices together and your computer will still recognize them. That said, you also want to have a small section of USB devices like this one, which have a powered strip with them, so that you can charge your phone, do things like that. It pays to have an outlet on the front of your desk. This will allow you to charge your cell phone while you're sitting at your desk. Or power complete. It will allow you to do other things like, oh, I'm out of outlet space. Where will we plug the artist's laptop in? This speaks for itself. Have a few spare outlets. You already know about those things. Next thing is that when you are recording with an artist, and I've seen, if you've ever been to a professional studio, you'll always see them with a talkback microphone. Keep a mic stand next to you. You're going to be recording. You need to be able to talk to these people. Okay, so for a studio, sure, your average SM58 is not good enough. I'm going to tell you right now, the betas are. They are vocal tuned microphones and they are plenty good for a studio. No, you're not going to be shooting people's vocals with an SM58. That's absurd. That's what your big mic is for. I'm saying so that you can talk to your artist while they are in the booth. You must be able to communicate clearly with your artist in the booth. If you have to yell, if you have to get up and open a door, you're going to quickly get pissed off and move them into a less acoustically sound environment. I shoot all my vocals in a closet. Who cares where you shoot the vocal? Does it sound right? Okay, the next thing that I wanted to show you and kind of give you a few tips on. Have multiple pairs of headphones so someone can sit with you and listen to what you're doing without you blowing them away at 1 a.m. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of monitoring, you don't need to have your monitors very high. You don't need a monitor past unity gain. If you're pushing the EQ too. Anytime you turn gain structure up, you are changing how the audio tone is affected as well. It's not just volume. As far as setting up your Microphone. If you'll notice, this camera is completely flat right now. See how the entire assembly is tilted down? It actually pays for you to tilt your microphone down, because what you don't realize is that people's mouths are actually tipped up. If you're below someone, you won't be able to hear them as well as if you're above them. And that's just how we're angled. We look up when we say things louder. We want to straighten our, straighten our throat out and speak louder. Okay. Also, have a good stand for your DJs to come in. I expect my DJs to come in with NS7s or, their tractor controls like over here in the corner or whatever. Have a good spot for them. And also, have controllers the artists know how to use. There's a Pioneer controller for Serato, 2 tractor controllers, a machine one, and the other thing, have everything backed up. That's a time capsule. Use that thing. That thing is a lifesaver. We had to restore our computer back down off Yosemite, back to Mavericks the other day. It just finished. It took well over 40 hours to do. So it always pays to have your things backed up. Now, you might be asking, why does he have a hookah on the desk? Well, because when I get pissed off at artists, I pack that thing full of weed and smoke it, so that I don't have a problem. That was the other thing that I wanted to tell you. If you feel like smoking in the studio, by all means do. There's no way smoke can hurt your Ableton controller. Now, anything solid state will not be affected by smoke. These guys, these big tube pre's and compressors, they will be affected by smoke because they're not solid state. They do include moving parts. So you want to be careful about blowing smoke directly at them. Anything with a cooling fan shouldn't get smoke in it as a general rule. Okay. Next thing you might want to know about, well, what kind of keyboard should I get? What kind of audio interface should I get? Honestly, it doesn't matter. The Focusrite is fine. The Beatlab is fine. And I'll tell you why. Those are fine because they do their job. And because no sound comes out of the Beatlab and no sound comes out of the Focusrite. The only thing these things are designed to do is have buttons pressed and change audio to digital. That's the only job they have. So if they are doing that properly, like the Focusrite does, no, you don't need to use a $1,000 preamp or compression stage. It's unnecessary for a simple vocal recording or a podcast or something where quality isn't necessary. But when it comes to actually shooting vocals that mean something to you, that you want to get a lot of those airs on, you really want to push it, and you want to get, you want it musical, always use an analog signal path. Have your analog signal path exit your compressor, switch it from a unbalanced signal to a balanced signal, and send it straight into your computer's sound card. The computer's sound card, the input on the computer, is actually designed to sound really good. Normally it does. You should not do this on a laptop. If you have a laptop and your computer does not have an extra sound card, you should not do this. Here's why. Computer laptop sound cards sound like crap. Don't ever use a laptop to work with unless it's a Mac. I don't mind Mac, but Windows sound cards sound terrible. Okay, the next thing that you might think is really obvious. I just took this off my neck. This is our iLock key, okay? For Pro Tools, for those of you who don't know, you have to actually insert this into your computer like an ignition key. It's just like a flash drive. You have to insert this into your computer in order to even get the Pro Tools software to start. So, if I walk into the studio in the morning and expect to work for the day, I see this, I'm good. If I walk into the studio expecting to work for the day, and this is on my dresser at home, I'm done. If I were you, I would always leave your iLock key inside of your computer. They want it there for licensing. It's not a security measure. No one will steal your Pro Tools. I don't understand how so many people lose their iLock keys. It is hilarious. But if you do lose your iLock key, you are screwed. So please always keep it in a handy location. Mine lives right on top of my Focusrite. As you can see, we're pretty disorganized right now. We are in the middle of a move. But I went ahead and kind of organized the desk in such a way that I'll be able to shoot this video. Appreciate you guys giving the time to watch it. If you have any other thoughts or comments on the rig or any other ideas that you might insert out there, now would be a great time to put them in the comment section below. I don't know everything, but that's just what I've learned in my experience. And the last tip that I would give you before I go is to isolate your monitors. If your monitors are touching your desk, you're hearing your desk. If your monitors are touching the air, you're hearing the air. That's what you want. Let's see, other than that, I don't really have anything pressing. Like I said, this is my first video, so I hope that I can get some more up later.